Champions League brings us exciting games, like I said. Sometimes it brings us the odd boring games. Sometimes it gives us undeniable classic games. Games that would be remembered for for years to come. You know, it gives us not just classic games, but classic moments. Games that leave you stunned, games that leave you in awe. You remember the reason why you watch football. You remember the reason why you love the game as a whole. In this modern day or modern era of football that is so pragmatic, so defensive, so structured, you get some teams that play incredible football. Some teams that remind you of why we fell in love with the beautiful game called football. You get those games that remind you of when you used to play ball with your mates, you know, on the streets, in the sandbox. Those old games that make you dream. And this is one of those games, or this was one of those games. Games that in time memorial will be tagged on YouTube as Champions League Classic. This was one of those games. This was one of those games. A lot of people predicted this game to be a high scoring game. And we could tell already. We could tell. Just the attacking prowess of both teams. I would have been shocked if it was anything less. What game am I talking about? I'm talking about the PSG versus Bayern Munich game. What a game. What a game. I am lost for words. I am really lost for words. This game was like an action movie. I watched this game on Amazon Prime. Thankfully, it's something I can watch again. I can rewind it back. It just felt like the game finished quick because of how entertaining the game was. Skills, chances, you know, moments that goals that left you in awe, moments that had you debating. Was that a pen? Oh, was that offside? Was that this? Was that that? This game had everything. What a game of football! What a game of football! The game ended 5-4. 5 goals by PSG, 4 goals by Bayern Munich. In my pre-match prediction, I actually predicted Bayern to win this game on the basis that PSG miss a lot of chances. They miss a lot of chances. So I thought that okay, Bayern, they more often than not kill their chances. And in this game, both teams missed chances. Both teams created chances. Both teams missed chances. Let's first start with the team stats. So PSG had 14 shots. Bayern had 7 shots. PSG had 46% ball possession. Bayern had 54 ball possession. PSG had 390 passes. Bayern had 490 passes. PSG had 86% pass accuracy. Bayern had 85% pass accuracy. PSG had 13 fouls. Bayern had 3 fouls. PSG had 3 yellow cards. Bayern had 0 yellow cards. PSG had 0 red cards. Bayern had 0 red cards. PSG had 2 offsides. Bayern had 1 offside. PSG had 2 corners, which they scored from 1. Bayern had 5 corners. So you can see that the game was pretty even and very action packed. The first team to score was Bayern Munich, in the 17th minute by a penalty from Harry Kane. Harry Kane has been fantastic this season. So a lot of people is arguably the best player in the world. If Bayern win the Champions League, he's probably going to win the award. Like there's no I don't see anybody um not winning it than Hurricane if Bayern win the Champions League. And definitely Olise will be at least in that top three. He will be in that top three if Bayern should win the Champions League. He'll probably Hurricane will probably be first. Olise will probably be second, or third or something. But Olise will be in that top three. I feel. Um. So Hurricane took, scored a pen in the 17th minute. Now some people feel like that wasn't a pen, but yes, it was a pen. That was a clear penalty. And Hurricane, who barely misses pens, broke the deadlock in the 17th minute. And then after that, um, Kivicha Kvaratskhelia scored an incredible goal after Dembele missed a one-on-one open chance. Something about Dembele is that this guy has bozo moments in him. Yes, he's an incredible player, but this guy can be a bozo. Can be a bozo sometimes in front of goal. So he missed a very clear chance, and not too long after, Kvaratskhelia with an incredible dribble. This guy is one of the best um, right, best left wingers in the world. Sometimes like just watching this game, it made me feel like look at what Bayern are dealing with as their attackers, their front three, and look at what PSG are dealing with as their front three, and look at what Arsenal has as front three: Madueke, Martinelli as front three. Sad. So not too long after that, 24th minute, Kvaratskhelia scored an incredible goal to tie the game 1-1. Then, not too long after that, from a corner kick, one of the shortest men on the pitch in Joan Neves. I don't know how he even he headed that ball. I don't know how he headed that ball. It was Jamal Musiala should have done better. Jamal Musiala should have done better. This is one of the shortest man on the pitch scoring a goal like that. And again, John Neves was incredible in this game. That guy was everywhere. So it was 2-1 by the 33rd minute. It was 2-1. Then in the 41st minute, Michael Olise with a stunning goal. With a stunning goal. Um, you know, drew and brought the game to a headlock, making it 2-2. And then just before the first half was done, Usman Dembele scored a very good goal to make the game 3-2. And then not too long after that, it was first half. Both teams went in for first half, which brought an end to an incredible first half. And coming into the second half, I knew that both teams were still going to come and play attacking football, because these teams, they are just very attacking. They can't help it. Both these teams cannot help it. It's band for band, attack for attack. So um, so like I said, both teams went into first half with PSG leading 3-2. So in the second half, in the second half, Usman Dembele scored another goal. Right? Was it Usman Dembele that even scored another goal? No, it was Kvaratskhelia that scored another good goal in the 56th minute. Scored a very good goal in the 56 minutes. Very good play by Dembele to allow to not touch the ball, right? To let the ball go through his legs. And Kvaratskhelia is very good at finishing. That guy is very, very good. So you know, but PSG went took the lead, 4-2 lead in the 56th minute. And then not too long after that, again in the 58th minute, Usman Dembele scored another goal to get the game to 5-2. And at that point, it was like, what? PSG destroying Bayern like this? I didn't even see it coming. And then Bayern being so resolute and creating chances, and Olise was just incredible today. Incredible today, man. The guy was just Olise was the guy was just everywhere. everywhere. He had Mendes on toast. He had Mendes on toast today. You know, then at in the 65th minute, Upamecano, scored a very good header. I feel like it wasn't the ball didn't re- the ball scraped his head. His head didn't really touch the ball, but obviously the goal will be given to him. A very nice free kick by Harry Kane. I think it was Harry Kane that took that free kick, if I'm not mistaken. So at that point, it brought the game to 5-3, and then in the 68th minute, Luis Diaz scored an incredible goal. To me, the best goal of the game. What a goal! What a pass by Harry Kane! And that's something about Harry Kane. Harry Kane is not only or Harry Kane is just a complete striker. This guy can poach, he can score, he can shoot, he can pass. This guy he's incredible. I even saw Harry Kane today dropping in defense to go and help. What a pass and what a control by Luis Diaz. And at first, it was like the ref, they had flagged the goal as offside, but then they checked the goal again and saw that it wasn't offside. That was the best goal of the game. The control, the dribble, the shimmy, and the curve on that ball to to go past the Bayern goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer conceding conceding 5 goals today. I'm sure the guy is shocked. I can't remember. Has Manuel Neuer ever conceded 5 goals before in a game? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But he conceded 5 goals today. So yeah, and that was it. Now the game ended 5-4, and even towards the penultimate minutes of the game, ending of the game, uh, Bayern almost scored another goal. They almost scored another goal to tie the game. Going into the second leg. So it will be very interesting to see what happens in the second leg. I think in the second leg, Bayern would, this is my opinion, Bayern will try to be more defensively resolute. They will try to get a few goals and then just defend. You know, Bayern go into the second leg with scoring 4 goals. At PSG's home. I don't know if the aggregates um, score is a thing anymore. I think the Champions League scrapped that. But they've scored 4 goals in PSG's home. If they go back to if they go back to the Allianz Arena, if they just score 2 goals and just defend, then they go through. You know, if they win, and if Bayern wins at their home, it will go into extra time. It will go into extra time. So um it's going to be a very, very interesting game for the second leg. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. There's still so much to play for in this game between both teams. I think for the second leg, PSG will try to be more defensively resolute. If they can get 1 or 2 goals, PSG they will go and defend. They will do their best to go and defend. So I think in the second leg, both teams will be more defensive than attacking. I feel like it's Bayern that will be more attacking because they need to win. But I feel like PSG will be more defensive in the second leg. But what a game. What a game all round. What an incredible game. I'll be watching the highlight of this game again because it was that interesting. It was that interesting. So we'll be looking forward to the Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid game tomorrow. It might not be as action packed as this. However, that is going to be an interesting game as well. That is going to be an interesting game in itself. Both teams might not be as attacking minded as PSG and as Bayern Munich, but these teams play different football. It's the race to the final that matters to me. In my opinion, I don't give a damn. You know, whether Arsenal score 15 goals tomorrow, as long as we can just score and be defensively resolute, that is all that matters. It's the W that matters for me. Whether it's haram football or I don't know, whatever football you want to call it, it doesn't matter to me. I just want the W, in my opinion. So that's it for me. Let me know who your man of the match was for the game. My man of the match for the game was hmm, my man of the match for the game was Olise. Olise. I know Bayern lost the game, but for me it was Olise. That was my man of the match for this game. In my personal opinion, I think I don't know who won the man of the match. It might have been Carrasquelia that might have won it. I don't know, but he had a very good game. So I would say him and Olise for me were both my men of the match, in my opinion. But if I was to pick one, I'll pick Olise. He was incredible today. So let me know who your man of the match was. Let me know how you think the second leg of this game will go. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.